Shalom. All praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutation to the brother and hope elect, pushing his word in truth and sincerity. This video here is going to be the Bible is rated R. Are you offended? Okay. So I'm just doing this video here because in the world today, especially in Christianity and the Roman Catholic Church, or Roman Catholicism, they water down, what's in the scriptures, and they have a problem when you bring the hardcore truth out to it, And the thing is, we don't hold anything back. We don't fail to declare. We declare all the truths. Whether it's something, whether it's something that's, the bitter and the sweet parts. We eat the whole roll. We, eat it all. Okay, so you got different parts in the scriptures where it's, a lot of parts that's sweet. Sounds good, sweet savor. All that good stuff, it's like honey in your mouth when you eat it. But then you got bitter parts, the part that's like, oh, that's kind of, that's cringy, But hey, that's the totality of it. You eat the whole roll. It's the balance of it, okay? And you can't water it down because, like I just said, the Bible is rated R. There are a lot of things in these scriptures that, if you put them on TV, you have to get a R rating. All right, and I'm gonna just go through a few of those little incidents, and there are a lot of them. All right, I'm just grabbing just a few. Okay, but first, I want to hit. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 6, and it says, "But though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge, but we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things." Okay, so might come off as what the world perceives as cursing words, which is not really cursing words. It's actually rude speech, because there's a difference between rude speech, a hard speech, and putting a curse on someone. Okay, that's not the same thing. So I really don't know where, that's not the same thing according to the scriptures. There's no such thing as a curse word. All right, but it says, "But though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge, but we have been thoroughly made manifest among you." Okay. So check this out. This is Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 23. "In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod," these are heathens, "of Ammon and of Moab. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. And I contended with them, and cursed them, and smote certain of them." And when they say smote, it means you hit them, okay? "And plucked off their hair." So you hit them, pulled their hair, pulled them off, "and made them swear by the Most High, saying, Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves." Verse 26, "Did not King Solomon of Israel sin by these things?" And he's just talking because, the Lord told us you don't take the daughters, or you don't wife the heathens, because you end up worshiping their gods. You end up committing idol worship, and that's what the sin that Solomon committed. Okay, "Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his power, and the Most High made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin." See that? And he was hitting them, cursing them, plucking off their hair, And because Jake make you really want to do that, because Jake be going off so bad, just make you want to just stop what you're doing. Like, we trying to give you the word of how you turn back to your power, trying to show you the better way, trying to show you how you can get out of this, but they just refuse to listen. So yeah, Nehemiah was irritated by that. You see? But no, he didn't walk, just turn from your ways, though. Don't do that. No, he was hitting them, plucking off their hair. You see that? I want to bring this out here. This is Matthew chapter 11, verse 6. This is Yahushua speaking. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Is not Yahushua the word? Lo, I come in the volume of the book that is written of me. He is the word. So literally from Genesis to Revelation, this is all Yahushua. Okay? He comes in the volume of the book, and you got to eat the whole roll. Don't be offended in it. Okay? But we say, blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Alright? Like I said, we're going to just catch some of these cringeworthy scriptures to show you why this book ain't, it's rated R. Ain't no fairy tale. It's something serious. Let's see. This is Acts chapter 1. Okay, and I'm going to start. Start at 13. Acts chapter 1, verse 13. It says, and when they were come in, they went up into an upper room where abode both Peter and James and John and Andrew and Philip and Thomas and Bartholomew and Matthew, James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon Zealots, and Judas the brother of James. These all continue with one accord in prayer and supplication with the women, and Mary the mother of Yahushua, and with his brethren. And in those days Peter stood up in the midst of the disciples and said, the number of names together were about 120, men and brethren. This scripture must needs have been fulfilled, which the Holy Spirit by the mouth of David spake before concerning Judas, which was guide to them that took Yahushua. Alright, so we know Judas Iscariot betrayed Yahushua. Alright, for he was numbered with us and had obtained part of this ministry. So you're going to have those that are with us that's going to get part of this ministry, meaning they're going to get this word. Okay, they're going to learn it. They're going to study it. They're going to be right there with you. They're going to be right there on the line with you. All right. Verse 18. Now this man purchased a field with the reward of iniquity, and falling headlong, he burst asunder in the midst, and all his bowels gushed out. See that? So, and it was known unto all the dwellers at Jerusalem, insomuch as that field is called in this proper tongue Al-Qadama, that is to say, the field of blood. Okay, so see what happened was when Judas betrayed Yahushua, and he tried to take it back. He tried to give them 30 pieces of silver. He tried to give it back, and of course they didn't take it. He felt bad, and he literally went and hung himself. But in him hanging himself, he threw himself off the headlong. And when he it say his bowels, it say he burst asunder and his bowels gushed out. That don't sound like, nothing rated PG. Just think about when he went down, all his insides, his intestines, everything just gushed out of his body. You see that? That's not a pretty sight. Okay? This is Genesis chapter 4, verse 8. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field. Let me see. I'm going to start at verse 3. Genesis chapter 4, verse 3. And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Most High. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Most High had respect unto Abel and his offering. So you can tell by that they knew the laws. They knew the commandments, the statutes and commandments, because Abel knew to make a sacrifice of his flock, while it says Cain brought the fruit of the ground. So Cain was trying to sacrifice, vegetables and fruit, and whatever herbs, whatever came out the ground, which that was not what the Lord wanted. You see that? So he was already being disobedient right there. Check this out. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. So Cain got angry. We say his countenance fell. They're saying, well, your face on the ground. Pick your face up off the ground. Matter of fact, look, verse 6. Check it out. And the Most High said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? Why you mad? Why your face on the ground? Verse 7. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? Meaning, if you're obedient, would I not accept you? The Lord, he's telling Cain, hey, if you was obedient, I would accept your sacrifice, but you're not. And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. Why? Because that's disobedience. All right, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. You see that? And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. And the slew means to kill. All right. See that? So here you got Cain getting jealous over Abel, and he just take him on out. I got something for him, I'll kill him. Once again, that don't sound like it's PG. Just trying to let y'all know. Alright, this is Genesis chapter 19, verse 4. Says, but before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. So this is when Sodom and Gomorrah, when the men was coming to to try to know the angels, or try to date the angels. But you know what? That's the PG way of saying it. So I'll say it. To try to have sex with the angels, to try to fuck the angels. That's what they were trying to do. Okay? And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came unto thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. So they saying, where the men that came in, that we bring them out here so we may have sex with them. That's what they wanted to do. And Lot went out to the door unto them and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have two daughters. which have not known man, which not have sex with a man, not been with a man. Okay? Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And check this out, verse 9. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them? And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. So they trying to break his door down to get these men out of here, to have sex, to commit these homosexual acts. You see that? They trying to break his door down to get in there. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door. All right. And they smote the men that were at the door. Remember I said smote meaning hit them. They hit the men at the door. They smote the men at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. See that? That's some hellified homosexual spirit there. They trying to break the door down to get to them. Alright. This is Genesis chapter 38, verse 6. So check this out. It says, and Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. He killed him. And Judah said unto Onan, go in unto thy brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. Why did he say this? Because it was a law, remember? Alright, that was actually a law. There is actually a law on that. This is how we know that the laws were around back then too, even before they were given unto Moses. Okay, because there was a law in which if a brother dwells with you and they don't have any children, and he dies and he has a wife. Now remember, according to the law, a woman is bound to her husband until he dies. So that's why it is lawful for you to go in unto her. It's not unlawful. But the whole thing is if he did not have any seed, any males or anything, then you would go in unto your brother's wife, the one that died, and you would get her pregnant and raise up seed unto her, so that his seed line could go on, so that his name can go on. His name can continue to be passed along. Okay? See, the thing is, you see, we've gotten past understanding that looking ahead, because we always just look at, in today's society, we look at now. You see, like I said, that was to continue on your seed line. We don't look at things the same way we did back then. Okay, but I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna read verse 8 again. And Judah said unto Onan, go in unto thy brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. See, that was the whole purpose, so that his seed line would not be cut off. Okay, that was the whole purpose of that. Verse 9. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his, and it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. Okay, so he went in, had sex with his wife. Salaki had sex with his brother's wife, and then instead of nutting in her, instead of coming in her, he pulled out and nutted on the ground. Okay. Verse 10. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. So he killed Onan for that. Not because he spilled his seed on the ground, not because he ejaculated, not because he pulled out, but because he refused to raise up seed unto his brother. That is the reason why. Okay? Alright. Let's see. This is 2 Kings chapter 2. and I'm gonna start at verse 22. So the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Elisha, which he spake. And he went up from thence unto Bethel, and as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city, and mocked him, and said unto him, Go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. So now Elisha was a prophet, man of the Lord. These are children. It says little children that's mocking a prophet of the Lord, man of the Lord. Remember? Now remember, Yahweh Shem Yahushua will always defend you. You know, if you a true man of the Lord, he's gonna defend his. No matter who it is. Verse 24. And he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. You see that? And there came forth 2 she-bears, 2 female bears out of the wood, and tear 42 children of them. So when he put that curse on them, the Lord sent Yahweh Shem Yahushua sent 42 sent 2 bears that killed 42 children, tore them apart. See that? That don't sound like no PG-13 rated, thing. Still not convinced? Let's check this out here. This is 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 47. And all this assembly shall know that the Most High saveth not with the sword and spear for the battle of the Lords, and he will give you into our hands. Alright. This is when David went out to fight Goliath. And it came to pass, when the Philistine arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hasted and ran toward the army to meet the Philistines. So David wasn't afraid. He ran to the fight. See that? And David put his hand in his bag and took thence a stone and slang it and smote the Philistine in his forehead. And the stone sunk into his forehead and he fell upon his face to the earth. So he took this rock, slung it, it hit him in the head, and it went in his head. Think about how hard David had to really sling that rock at him to do that. That was literally some spiritual force behind that, to sling that rock at Goliath and it literally sink in his head. Yeah, that was some spiritual force behind that. Alright, but check this out. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. So he hit the Philistine and he killed him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore, check this out. David ran and stood upon the Philistine. So he stood on him and took his sword and drew it out of the sheath. So after he killed him, he went over to Goliath, took his sword, unsheathed his sword, and drew out of the sheath thereof and slew him and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. So then David cut off his head. See that? And the men of Israel and of Judah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines until thou come to the valley and to the gates of Ekron. And the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way of Shaaraim, even unto Gath and unto Ekron. And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled their tents. Check this out. And David took the head of the Philistine. He took the head of Goliath and brought it to Jerusalem, but he put his armor in his tent. See that? Show you that the Lord was with David. So he killed him and then took his sword and cut his head off. See that? This ain't no children's book. This ain't no children's stories. All right, this is my last one I want to get. This is Judges chapter 19, verse 22. It says, "Now as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain son of Belial, beset the house round about, and beat at the door, and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, Bring forth the man that came into thine house, that we may know him." So we got some more homosexuality stuff going on. "And the man, the master of the house, went out unto them and said unto them, Nay, my brethren, nay, I pray you, do not so wickedly, seeing that this man is come into mine house. Do not this folly. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden and a concubine. Them will I bring out now, and humble thee them, and do with them what seemeth good unto you. But unto this man do not so vile a thing. But the men would not hearken to him. So the man took his concubine, okay, and brought her forth unto them, and they knew her." So they had sex with his concubine, "and abused her all the night until the morning." So they was beating her and having sex with her all night, and then into the morning. "And when the day began to spring, they let her go. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door of the man's house where her lord was, till it was light." So they beat her and they had sex with her all night, and then they let her go, and she came, fell down at her master's house, and laid there at the door. "And her lord rose up in the morning, and opened the doors of the house, and went out to go his way, and behold, the woman, his concubine, was fallen down at the door of the house, and her hands were upon her threshold." You see that? Upon the threshold. So he opened the door, seen her with her hands on the threshold. You know, she was barely holding on, you know, due to all the, you know, sex and abuse that she got. Verse 28, "And he said unto her, Up, let us be going." So he said, basically, get up, we finna go. But none answered, so she ain't answered. "Then the man took her upon an ass, and the man rose up and gat him unto his place. And when he was come into his house," so he brought her in the house, "and he took a knife and laid hold on his concubine, and divided her together with her bones into 12 pieces, and sent her into all the coasts of Israel. So he took her, and he cut her up into 12 pieces and her bones, and sent her to all the coasts of Israel. And it was so that all that saw it said, There was no such deed done nor seen ever, nor seen from the day that the children of Israel came up out of the land of Egypt unto this day. Consider of it, and take advice, and speak your minds." You see that? This ain't no children's book. This ain't no rated G, PG, PG-13. This is rated R. So I ask you, are you offended by the things you just read, or by the words you just heard? Remember, Yahweh Shai comes in the volume of the book that is written of him. Okay? So I actually want to get off here again. It's Matthew chapter 11, verse 6. "And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me." So don't be offended at this word. Okay? Don't be offended. Some things, like, you know, might kind of get to you. It might be a little crazy, you know, we think about it, but hey, don't be offended at it. Okay? Eat the whole roll. Man up. Gird your loins. Alright? So this was the Bible is rated R. Are you offended? Are you offended? I hope not. Because if you're not offended, you'll be blessed. Okay? So call all you, how about Shema Shai by Shema Kakodash. Hope to see you back with another lesson. Hope you edified. Shalom.